Kind of an impromptu thing I decided to do today. It's it's Wednesday. There's no MLB tonight, but there's a lot of stuff coming up. Starting with the PGA 3M tomorrow, then an MMA card this weekend, and MLB is coming back tomorrow in a 3-game slate, and then following day we're going to do more. There's tennis every day, League of Legends every day, and I'm not busy for the next half hour, 45 minutes. So if you guys want to come on here and ask anything about any of the sports that are coming up, feel free. Feel free to just kind of ask anything, jam in whatever you want to talk about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with PGA because that's the next thing on the list, and then I'll go into some MMA or really whatever you guys want me to do. If you guys don't interrupt, if you guys just don't give me any direction, I'm just going to just go through sport by sport and just kind of free flow, tell you what I'm up to. So I didn't watch the All-Star game last night. It's just kind of not my thing. But I'm really interested in the PGA slate tomorrow, and I think I decided what I want to do here. And this is one way to do it. Okay, so first of all, there are a couple of key guys that you're going to have to really figure out what to do with, and they're guys in the 7K range. One of them I have no problem with. The other one I'm having a bit of a problem with. So let's talk about Tom Kim. He's listed as Ju Hyung Kim, but he has kind of taken the world by storm from the Asian tour. He got a great finish in the Scottish Open. He's been doing great, and from all I can tell, he very well might be a 9K golfer who's being priced at 7,300. And when I first started into this week's process, I just had this feeling he was going to end up being 40% owned. And it really depends on where you go to answer that question. Here's my grid right here. And according to my grid, if you take kind of like the aggregate, which is kind of a weighted average, I guess, of all the ownership projections, I mean, I'm only getting it 16%, but that's just no way that's going to be the case. And so when I'm trying to put these sheets together, I don't know exactly what I want to do. I mean, do I want to impose my own will on what the industry is telling me? I mean, I think I probably should, because he's got to be 30% owned, Ju Hyung Kim. And the other guy who's going to get a lot of ownership in the 7K range is going to be Chris Gotterup. I have him at 20% plus. And from all I know about golf, these are the types of guys that you really want to fade. Okay, the kind of the low-priced golfers at huge chalk is usually the types of guys that you want to fade. And that's what I would kind of recommend. Now, there's another guy that's showing up here as almost 25% owned in the same range. That's Adam Svensson. So what we're looking at here is Adam Svensson, 23+%. Tom Kim, who's going to be 25% plus. And you have Gotterup, who's going to be 20%, all right, plus. So it's important to remember how little some of these guys are apart. Like, let's take Ji Hyung Kim, 7,300, and let's look at CT Pan. I mean, I presume you can get these guys in pretty much the same. I have CT Pan actually projecting a little better than him at about half of the ownership. So for me, instead of playing like Kim and Svensson and Gotterup, what's up, Eric? I really think that the smart thing to do is to use this range to pivot. And that means, I mean, for me, I mean, my top guys in this range are Jason Day, Matthew Neesmith, CT Pan, and Troy Merritt. So, like, for example, like if you look at, and this is one of the reasons I don't do this too often, is if you look at my core, if those of you that are, SaberSim Plus members or whatever you should call it, when I put my core out there, it's not like when a lot of content providers put their core, it's like kind of like the best plays. when I'm putting my core, I'm just putting in who I'm going to be most leveraged on. You know what I mean? Um, so that's that is who I put as my core is Neesmith, um, Troy Merritt, CT Pan, and the other guy was Cameron Tringali. So not that those are necessarily the best plays, but I think when you factor in the really high ownership of some of these other guys, I think that that's really the smart thing to do. Um, so that's really the way I'm going to approach this PGA slate. What I did was, and there's a lot of ways you could do this. You could take my projections or whoever's and throw it into SaberSim or Roto Grinders or whatever it is, and run lineups. But what I did was I ran a thing of 150, and then I manually went in and increased. I'll get to that, Eric. Yeah, and increased my ownership on those four guys to a point where I was at least twice the field, maybe even 2.5 times the field. So it's interesting to say, like I'm probably going to have fold like 20% or so of Tony Finau, maybe more of him than some of those core plays. But the core plays, I those are plays I'm going to be over the field significantly on. Maybe not my highest owned guys, but the guys that I'm most leveraged with. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so Cam Davis and McNeely. Listen, for me, again, according to my numbers, I don't see either of those guys as being that great. I see Cam Davis as being a good play. I don't have McNeely as being anything special. That's just you asked, so that's my opinion. Like even at that range, I would rather. Well, if I were going to replace a 9,300 guy, I guess going to Davis Riley is no bargain either because he's 20% owned also. So if you're going to get to that range, I guess McNeely's not a problem, or Cam Davis. But I would actually prefer. I mean, since you brought it up, is I prefer Tringali to both those guys, but not by much, right? It's kind of a tough thing when I have to like comment on someone else's lineup, right? So what if you went Chaz? Who's that? I don't even know who that is. Chaz Reavy? I didn't even oh, Ches Reavy? Is that who you mean? Yeah, I didn't it's interesting. He didn't really show up on my radar at all. But I mean, in fairness, he's only 6% owned, so I would rather do him than Adam Long in that range, if that makes anything to you. So yeah, I mean, again, this is just my look. Is my I don't really have Ches Reavy in my pool. I mean, not my pool, but I don't have him as a top play. But that's that's my you asked. That is a good that is a good project, Fred. That we're going to add that to the list of things that I think are worth doing that I probably am not going to do. And I will tell you that this is one of the things that I ask whenever I interview people that do other sports. I ask them what type of chalk is usually good chalk and what type of chalk is usually bad chalk. Like when someone asks me NFL, like what's usually good chalk, like when you have those 3K running backs that are put into a starting role, like those are usually really really good chalk. Okay, so you're asking Sam Ryder. He's not on mine. He's not up on my list. And again, I'm usually just pretty projection based when it comes to my pool. And again, Ryan Moore, just Sam Ryder. I'll give about Sam Ryder. He's 1%. So that's something. And Ryan Moore, I have him kind of like the bottom of the second half of the field. So that's not really me. So Eric says, would you play 2 to 10Ks to be different? Well, one thing I will say, is that getting different in golf is a little bit I don't want to say overrated, but I wouldn't make bad plays to get different. You know what I mean? Like if you run, I'll tell you this: if you run like a build and you get two 10K guys that are, you know, and your lineup is kind of close in projection to some of your others, but so what you're suggesting is that the builds with two 10Ks are not going to be very popular. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, you could be right. Remember, you're Eric. You're a kind of a sharp player, right? So you are so you are looking at all like the top guy. I see you around. I mean, you go to the top discords. You listen to the top content. So you're kind of on board with what kind of some sharp people in the industry are saying. Um, uh, don't be so sure that encompasses like this particular tournament, like the lottery tournament. There's a lot of bad players out there. So don't get too wrapped up in what the industry about being that different from the industry. Because listen, most of the things that the industry comes up with are pretty good plays. But Eric, I mean, this is how I started this whole thing was about the Tom Kim. I think it's probably wise to fade him. I just don't believe that. Oh wow, that's sick. So you're in the live final? Well, I will say that how many people are in it? Was it like 100? Well, we could talk about that. So if there are 300 people in the live final, I would imagine that what's his ownership going to be in that? I would say probably 65%, maybe. Is that possible? Is that right? About 65%, 60%? Got to be. Let's have some fun. Let's build the lineup as if we were gonna like do that, right? I'm gonna listen, all these guys that are in this, let's presume that most of them are just kind of industry guys and they all just kind of know what they're doing a little bit. So let's just say that we would put in who's the industry been on? So Kim, who else has been pretty good? They've been got her up, right? And then Svensson. This is like I presume some of the chalk, right? Steele, and then yeah, I already put Goddard up in. So Kim, Goddard up, Svensson, Steele. Let me think. I'm just trying to build like a single entry lineup that I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay. So Cam Davis, right? And then like a 10K guy, right? Like just for the hell of it. Im or Fina, but let's put in Im, okay? So this is like a pretty logical, type of lineup, and it makes zero on the table. But I have to think that there's going to be some pivoters out there, right? I mean, I think that who I think people are going to take. What people are going to say. They're going to say, "Ooh, I don't want to play into 10Ks." So maybe what they'll do, because what's his name? Came up with Thigala, right? Who's it? Noto or somebody was saying that Thigala is his best play, and he's hot because he had the winner last week. So maybe, and nobody likes to play Sunjay really. So maybe somebody would do something like this, right? And play Thigala. So this could be kind of a semi-sharp derivative of that lineup, right? And then there's McNeely. If they really wanted to leave money on the table, they could play McNeely and maybe move up Steele a little bit. So this is going to be your kind of standardish type lineup. I mean, look, we can't pigeonhole everybody into this, but these are probably going to be let's put him in here. probably going to be the top, probably some of the top owned guys, whatever it is. One of the things you can do, and this is probably to answer part of Shark's question too, is the leaving money on the table. Like if you like McNeely, like the first thing you could do is just put in McNeely. I mean, now you're leaving 700 on the table, and you're already doing some good stuff, right? And then another thing you could do, I mean, just again, I'm just building this off the top of my head. I'm not in this, so I'm allowed to figure this out. So then I would move up from a kind of a chalkier steal to maybe you could play Davis Riley, but I think that people would want to do that. I mean, if you like your Ches Reavie guy, I would maybe play him. I wouldn't. I don't really like that too much. And then you could play Tringale, right, and still leave 200 on the table. And then what I would do, and again, this is not to be completely different, right, is you can't, I don't think you want to play all three of these guys, Kim, Svensson, and Goddard. I think what you're supposed to do, even especially in this thing, is just X this, is you take Kim out and pick your favorite of the others. That would be, I mean, I happen to like both these guys, Pan and Neesmith. But, Troy Merritt, he's another guy I like. So you could do that. And this could be somebody. Or if let's say you wanted to take Goddard up out too. I mean, look, there are options in here. It's not like these guys are locks. You play something like Jason Day or something like that. Yeah, well, you were told Goddard is a stud, right? So he is a stud. So what? Does that mean that means he's gonna necessarily perform well this weekend when everybody's on him? I mean, I want to explain something to you. Goddard was a stud, and he was 41% owned in the Barbasol Championship. And look at what happened. And he missed the cut. So it's possible he's a stud, but he still got cut. This is golf, man. It's just So, and then you get Kim, for example. Depends on when you get him, right? So here, I mean, he's obviously been doing really, really well, but I mean, you tell me that he's gonna go for so he's gonna go to the U.S. Open, finish almost T20. Okay, then they'll take like a couple of weeks off, whatever. Then he'll go back-to-back tournaments in Europe. Okay, he'll put a ceiling performance up in the Scottish Open, come right back in the U.S. Open, the Open Championship, and then with no rest, he's going to fly all the way to the United States to play in stupid Minnesota for real at 30% ownership. I mean, that to me, and this is me. This is like the Uber fade, but that's Hey, must have been tough to make that live final. Don't blame me if he chalks out and everybody wins. But anyway, that's what I would do. I would do something. Maybe if you like these guys like Davis and McNeely, I would probably do something like maybe like this. And then if you don't even fade them all, fade Svensson too. Whatever you don't like that. I mean, play. You want to get mad, and you can play Pan here. Boom. Or look at all these guys you could play in this range that you don't have to play freaking Tom Kim. You could play Meliano Grillo. I mean, he could win the tournament. I mean, look at Grillo. Listen, he missed the cut, but his tournament before that, he got freaking second in the John Deere Classic. Everybody's like all over. What's his name? Goddard, right? Goddard. Where's Goddard again? Goddard's a stud because he got fourth in the John Deere Classic. Meliano Grillo got second. And they're the same price, and Grillo is going to be 4% owned. Is there a Canadian narrative to this tournament? I don't know. I can't imagine there being anything. You mean people that played in Minnesota? I beats me. So that's what I would recommend. I would recommend not playing Kim, not playing Goddard. I do think that of these 10K guys, Who do I trust the most? I honestly don't know. Um, Finau maybe. Thigala maybe. I kind of like this kid. You know what I mean? He's always having fun out there doing his thing. Came into the Open Championship on short notice, right? The last minute replacement came on in. I mean, the guy's a superstar. Yeah, so that's what you do. I mean, you play the Thigala or Thiagala, however you pronounce it. Thigala, sorry. Um, so yeah, so to answer, okay, so now to go all the way back to the question of am I going to leave money on the table? What's interesting is yes, I am, but the funny thing is that it's not. I'm not even going to have to force it. When I just put my own projections into SaberSim and then force myself to have those four core plays be 2x my 2x the field, and then I run it, I automatically leave money on the table almost all the time. So I don't really have to force it. Um, but what I would say is that if you run stuff and then you have the opportunity to leave money on the table without costing yourself much, as far as projection equity, I would do it. Especially in a slate like this. Yeah, I don't do any of that, Eric. That's all factored in. You know what I mean? Like I really just respect the guys who make the models, and that's their job. To come up with how the cut thing impacts the whatever, and then all that comes up to a projection, and then I just take the projection and then factor in ownership, and then do lineup construction and just kind of like let it roll. I don't. What happens is I don't like to double count, Eric. Like if I'll look at and this people do this all the time in baseball. You'll see Max Scherzer with projection of 30, and then people say, yeah, he's got a really good projection. You know what? He's got really good strikeout upside. Okay, because that's why he's got that projection. It's the same thing. And that's like to say, well, I like the golly. He's got a good projection. You know what else? He's got a good, top 10 finish percentage. You know what I mean? Like all that's factored in. I wouldn't attempt to double count that. If you're in the mood to like make your own projections, then yeah, I mean that all stuff gets modeled and stuff like that. But that's something that really doesn't interest me too much. Yeah. So like right now, I will just tell you. I mean, I will literally tell you what my ownership is in the I can't show you, but I can tell you what the ownership is in the golf. I think my top owned guys are going to be, and again, I'm going to be playing 150, so that's something to keep in mind. But hang on, I'm going to do it over here. Up and coming. Actually, my top owned guy is Cameron Tringali. And then after that is those guys I mentioned. Day, Neesmith, Day, Neesmith, Pan, and Day, Neesmith, Pan, and who is it? Merritt? Yeah, and Merritt. Those are the quote unquote top owned guys. The Open for me was not good. I lost probably like 50% of my entries in the Open Championship. I didn't have any 6-for-6s, so that was that. I will tell you, I have 2 outright bets. If you wanted to throw in like a 5 spot on something just to root with me, I'll tell you what I have. I'll give you the exact. Ooh, I hope I can go in here while I'm on this other. Oh, I can. Excellent. I have. Hang on. Where it says my bets? My bets. Okay. I have $100 to win on 2 guys. I have $100 to win on Emiliano Grillo at 66 to 1, and I have $100 to win on Adam Shank at 150 to 1. So it's 100 to win 15,000 on Adam Shank, and 100 to win on Emiliano Grillo at 66 to 1. Those are my two whatever. So as I mentioned before, Eric, my core four, whatever it is, my core plays, I'll just give it to him again. Just those four guys. It is Pan, Merritt, Day, and Tringali. But again, that's just not that's not the thing you're used to, Eric. Like usually when people says their core whatever, that's like the best plays that are kind of in cash, that are kind of conservative and stuff. These are literally my four big pivots, and I think that's just kind of more useful to tell people than just who my favorite four chalks are. So that's that. Golfers with the last name is Shank would be, oh, okay. All right. Shank just has a lot of he has a lot of whatchamacallit. He has a decent amount of volatility to him. And I figured at 150 to 1 it was worth a I don't think I have any of them in DFS. That's the funny thing. Like, this is really funny. Like, you asked if I left money on the table. I just want to, I mean, this is, I just want to tell you that I'm just looking at these. I'm looking at this one pile of lineups I have that I'm leaving 2,000 plus on the table, like 5, 6, 7, 8. Here I'm leaving 3,000 on the table, 2,800 on the table. I mean, I'm just going freaking, it's not that I'm going bananas. This is what my projections are giving me. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not really, whatever. I'm just kind of what I'm getting. This one I have 3,000 on the table. I'm just kind of looking at all these. I don't know. I just don't know what to tell you. 2,500, 3,000. I mean, when I'm forcing in these other guys, like can I give you one lineup? Let me just see. Just to give you an example. Like, all these guys are pretty good that I'm using. I have one line. Adam Hadwin, Jason Day, Emiliano Grillo, Matthew Neesmith, Lucas Glover, Kramer Hickok. You know what I mean? Like, that's all reasonable plays, but just, nothing at 10K. And nothing, particularly high. I just feel as though that those 7,800 guys are just as good as some of these 9Ks. So that's just where it's just kind of crazy. Yeah, sure, I'm worried. Whatever. I'm worried about anything. I actually listen. Yeah, if he's got back injury, he's got issues. I mean, sure, that's certainly not factored into my numbers. I will say that. So and nor is stuff like Sun JM possibly withdrawing because of Liv. That's possible, I guess. So just make sure that you're on top of that. But I mean, yeah, I'm always worried, but I guess that's one of the things going to keep his ownership low, I suppose. Stuart Sink, Jaeger, he's not bad. I don't think people not you people. I don't think people realize literally how bad this field is. I mean, Sun JM, like he has been like 7,800. You know what I mean? All these guys like above 10K. Sun JM's 10K. I mean, Tony Finau 10.5. I mean, quite honestly, the only guy up here that I can like live with at a 10K price tag is probably Hideki. I mean, he's at least, like he's a top guy, I think. Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't run it for like the Open Championship or something like that. I guess they didn't fill it before that. Is that what happened? That's probably it. Now let me ask you something. Is it actually live? Like where are you doing this? Is it at a this is like kind of stupid thing for me to ask, but is it in Minnesota? Like, are you guys all going to Minnesota to do this? Like, is it at the tournament, or I've never done one of these, or is it at a facility? What is it? What is it? I don't. When I hear the term live final, I presume that it's like a party and everybody just kind of is there, kind of sweating and all that stuff. Like, is it everybody? Is it at a venue somewhere? Oh, okay. So wait. Okay. So hold on a second here. Let's go backwards. So what are the rules? What do you have to do to get through this week? So you don't have to win this week. What do you have to do? Oh, so this is one of those. So it's a double up. Well, that's very different, right? Well, so hold on. I mean, I hate to say this, but if you're playing this like cash, I mean, you're probably just supposed to take the top optimal play, aren't you? Listen, I don't know. I mean, the only thing one of these I ever made, I did the MMA thing or whatever, but I don't want to confuse you now. But then aren't you supposed to do exactly what I just said before? I mean, you're supposed to play. Well, I don't like. Well, here's the thing. I don't like Goddard. My projections don't like Goddard. That's the difference. But let's do this all over again. So let's put in forget Goddard for a second. All right. So let's put in Svensson. These are my top guys. Okay. In a bad word, she said hate. Steele, Svensson. What did we say? Cam Davis. Who are the other M, or let's even say Finau, right? Let's just do this for a second. Okay, you like Riley? That's fine. So we'll put him in. Right, again, we just want to survive, right? So Steele, Svensson, Davis. Let's put Goddard up in just for a minute, just for a second, and then well, who's in the 8K range? So we don't. So Svensson, Davis, Riley. I mean, I would. Listen, you asked me, right? So I would probably do something like this without filling it all in. But I wouldn't play Goddard up. I don't like him this way. I would do. Yeah, that's fine. Instead of Steele, you got McNeely. That's cool. You were able to do that, so you didn't play Steele. You're on the fence and Goddard. That would be my bit of advice to you is I wouldn't do Goddard up. Oh, Kim, he was the other guy, right? And then what did we do? We didn't play Tringali. You played one of these other 79s. Oh, good, Joanne. Thanks, Joanne. Okay. So this is basically the deal, right? So this is the cash build. Is that what we decided? Something like this. If you played all these, Kim, Svensson, Goddard, Davis, McNeely, Riley, I think this is going to be like a very. But popular is good here. You're right. Popular is good. We just got to get the whatever. You could pivot to Jason Day, absolutely. You could pivot to a lot of this stuff. again, for me, my opinion is I like Steele and the other one better. I like Steele, and I don't like Goddard up at all. Like I would like somebody else. I mean, like you could almost get to Steele almost with just straight up for Goddard if you wanted. And then again, this is 8,800. See, this would be, I could do that, right? If I'm not actually playing it. Like this is probably something close to what I would do if I were in this, you know. But honestly, what I would do, let's have some fun. All right, let's do this. Let me pull up a Saber Sim for a second. I'm just gonna run. I want to see what I would get. I just ran my. Dude, I don't care if it's duped. You got to double up in this thing. Duped, I don't care. I want the best plays in that tournament, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do in cash? I mean, I don't really play cash, but I think that's what you're supposed to do, right? So hold on. EGA. We don't care about ownership too much. We're going to do this. We're going to put this in, and we're going to just. We'll play just to show you some options. We'll play like 10 lineups, and then we'll just no ownership fade, right? And let's just just today you're playing but tomorrow you're playing cash. I promise you that this is what you're doing. So if I build 20 lineups, just the optimal, what do I get? So I don't even get. So here are some lineups that I would get. I don't get any Goddard up. that's just me. I'm getting the Svensson, Tringali, Day, Davis, Steele, Neesmith, getting some right? See, for me, I'm getting Svensson as the best overall play. Svensson, Steele, Day, and that's why I'm getting so much Day. Is I'm getting him as a good play regardless of ownership. But like you said, you know, if you're worried about his back, you don't want him withdrawing when it's a double up. So maybe I wouldn't do that in that tournament. So I wouldn't get to Goddard up at all. So if you want to just take your favorite plays and fade Goddard up in one spot, I totally give you my permission. Yeah, that's okay, Fred. Again, I think you're double counting a little bit. I think the projections probably factor that in. But like you said, also two medians aren't the same. Like if you have two median projections and one of them is more of a cut maker and the other one is more of like the big distribution guy, then yeah, I think that you should probably go with make the cut guy. You know, like I'll give you an example. Like Cam Davis is not exactly the greatest play, I don't think, in a double up. You know, because he could get into trouble. You know, he rolls birdies out there, but he puts some doubles are worse up there. So if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts of these guys, what's his name? You get a guy like Davis or even a guy like Thigala. Those guys can spray it a little bit too. So I don't know, and so I don't know. So this is kind of interesting. Go back to that lineup and you swap Goddard up. Yeah, sure, go for it. It's fine. Yeah, there you go. But Grillo's another one. He'll break your heart, man. Double up. He'll break your heart and double up. But Svensson, Tringali, I don't know. I guess Davis. You're right on it, dude. You'll be fine with what you told me. You should. I mean, you should be. I can't imagine playing golf cash, but given that that's what you have to do, I would not go into funny business like a 210K line, 210K build or something like that. I would definitely not do that. So yeah. I mean, this guy in the DraftKings one. Oh yeah, okay, whatever. One of these, but it's like something like that, like something like that. But Eric, you're a good player. You know what I mean? You're going to come up with good plays. You know, you do your research. It's not the same as trying to win the big lottery tournament. You know, where you don't really need to make good plays. I mean, not that you don't need to make good plays. As a matter of you can't make good plays. I mean, you take your top six plays and have it. Remember we did that when we first did this. Oh my God, I can play this, and it fits in with nothing left with the Sun JM. You said, wow, it seems easy. That thing will never win the lottery tournament. It just won't. And you think, well, why wouldn't it win? I will ever win. Like even if I have to do it with 7, 9, 10 guys, it just doesn't. There's just always some hoodoo that gets in there at 2%, and you just don't know which one it's going to be. That's why in those types of tournaments, the 150s, I love using the SaberSim because it will remove all my biases from the equation, and it will not require me to play these pretty lineups that I think look good. And I will say this. I've hit like the big one, like more times than I would imagine, like in that 50K, the 100K in different sports, and baseball, basketball, whatever. And every single time I've hit it, it's been like a ridiculous lineup. It's been one where I played like 30, and if I had to figure out which one of them was going to be the one to win, it would be like the 28th one that I would imagine. Like it'd be something I would never ever play hand building, like ever. I mean, Bobby, I don't know how he does it. Bobby is in contention for these 50, 100K things with like hand building stuff. I'm like way too logical and chalky to do that. I'll end up with all good plays, and they just never all get there. It's hard. That's why I really recommend either SaberSim or Roto or some kind of, yeah, exactly, Eric. It's just like freaking nuts. It's just nuts. Like some of the stuff I come that I play when I run the SaberSim builds. You gotta kind of live with it in a way, you know. But yeah, I have to check something here because let's see if record 7. Take a look at that. So what I have to do is let's get started already. Oh, that's brutal. That stinks. Okay. All right. What else is going on? Anybody playing MMA? Anybody care about that? I mean, I did do a lot of work on that. There's actually one guy whose projection I didn't put up there yet, but look at all this money I'm leaving on the table. This is so ridiculous. But whatever it is, it's going to be what it's going to be. 10% got her up. No, we'll see. We'll just see what happens. Yeah, let's take a look at the early look on the that could be fun. Let's take a look at the early look on the salaries for tomorrow. Let's put it up here. And 3-gamer tomorrow. It's 1:10 p.m., so I don't know if I'm going to be around to put this up. So actually, I'll put it up before I leave. I think I'm going out to the Hamptons. So tomorrow we got Yankees, Houston, Javier. Man, he's been good. And you get Scooble 7,100. Lopez is going to be probably the play, right? Against Texas at home. Yeah, so probably and John Gray. So it's going to be those three. No, I don't think you're going to want to play Talion at Houston. Scooble, what's his name, has been chasing. I think Bobby's been chasing him a couple times. He hasn't really. He's got a result or two in there. Zach Logue hasn't really done anything. So it looks as though it's going to be either if you want to play Javier against the Yankees, good luck to you. but I think it's going to be Gray, Lopez, and Skubal as the three pitchers, and that's paying down. So you're probably going to get to all these bats if you want. But check it out. It's like the Yankees in Houston. Like, what are you going to do? You have probably the best pitchers, but definitely the best hitting environment. I think that Houston could tee off on Talion actually. So for me, this is without looking at projections. Have some fun. Let's build a lineup right now by hand tomorrow with no information. Let's see Alvarez. Alvarez is activated ahead of the Thursday. Oh, he was activated ahead of Thursday's doubleheader. Okay, so we have to watch the lineups. But I would go ahead. Yeah, you too, Eric. So I'd go ahead and play these Washington, play Houston. Oh my God, look at these prices. Kyle Tucker, 5,800. Look at all these Houston guys. Oh my God, be interesting. So that's what I'm going to probably do. I got to look at the projections for tomorrow. That's kind of what I'm at. And I'm probably going to, maybe I'll do like a live MMA thing on Friday, like during the day. I don't know what the schedule looks like. Let's just see what else. So Thursday baseball, there's only like 2 games on Thursday. Is that right? Oh, tomorrow's Thursday. Sorry. There's 3 games and there's 2 games tonight. Friday there is a big slate. So Friday I will do a thing. We'll record and maybe we'll go live on Friday or something like that. But we'll definitely record. And I guess that's all I got. Any other questions? No? Good. All right. So hopefully that gave you some insight on what I'm going to do in golf, at least tomorrow. I'm probably going to be dead. I mean, I'm leaving so much money on the table, not even on purpose. So we shall see. Good luck, everybody.